Good day, Rusk enjoyers. Hope you're right, 'cause it's time for the Rust rotation for January 1st, 2026, the first Rust off of 2026. So sit back and relax. Let's get started. But before we do, I need your help. Could you please consider voting for what you consider to be the Rust Skin of the Year for 2025? As you can see here, recently I posted a video talking about it and I showcased the skins. I've even got a tweet about it. All I need you to do is sign into your Gmail account and, well, what with you being watching me on YouTube, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. All you need to do is just scroll down in this very video, look in the description, and you'll see a forms.gle link. If you're to click that, it will send you over to here. But please be warned, if you're a streamer, you probably don't want to do this like on stream because it will show your email on display, all right? So you've been warned. Other than that, you can only vote for one skin. What would you vote for? Mr. Chick Rock, Heatseeker MP5, Heatseeker SAR, Island Assault Tier 3, Mystic Tree Garage Door, Olympus Revolver, Cedar Types Firearms Large Box, or Temple Tier 3 Armour. Out of all 8 of these skins, what would you consider to be the Rust Skin of the Year for 2025? I'm still bringing in like all the votes. I'm going to wait until like January 9, so that means next weekend. I'll find out who the winner is and we'll make a nice announcement video. And of course, all the people who contributed their suggestions will be having a very special raffle. The winner will receive a pair of surgeon scrubs for absolutely free. So, all right, cool. So all you're going to do is just scroll down, take a look in the description of this very video. You'll see the link to this. I'll greatly appreciate it if you did consider contributing to this. And so that, let's now go ahead and showcase the brand new skins. So, we were anticipating this. With it being January 4 swipe, we're expecting a lot of people to turn up. Now, we were kind of questioning, with it being the 1st of January, would certain people probably not be very lively, not fully awake, ha ha ha. We can't rule out that maybe tomorrow or the day after might have more people playing, we shall see. But we still went all the way up to 247,000. Now, considering that December 2025 wasn't as good compared to December 2024, only based on average player count, really, we were kind of rolling with the expectation that the peak player count today probably wasn't going to be as good as last year. I mean, we're only off by about 13,000. Again, the peak number we see here is lower compared to what we see back over to here in actual Steam. So anyway, with what we see here, I'm not complaining. It's still very good. We still have tomorrow as well and the day after where it could potentially go up even higher. But overall, I'm sure you've seen my videos already. Post-Christmas is already doing like very, very good. So who here has struggled to sell their skins recently? I don't think anybody is, right? Now, some of the older, not as in-demand skins, true. Okay, fair enough. That's understandable. But honestly, the prices are improving very, very nicely. So case in point, Heatseeker Thompson, a nice in-demand skin, part of a well-established in-demand collection. Let's just quickly scroll down and, oh, look at that. It's peaking up to a brand new all-time high price. Lovely. Splendid. So, okay. That's how post-Christmas is. But we should also take into consideration this probably isn't going to last forever, right? Well, duh. Inevitably, there will be the Easter dip. Around March and April time, we should expect all prices to go back down again, okay? How long will this momentum last for? That's a good question to ask because, of course, we also have the naval update coming out for February 4 swipe. Perhaps it might, stick around throughout all of January. We shall see. But regardless, that's something for me to talk about tomorrow in another video because what we're here for is the Rust or rotation video. Yes, indeed. Now, I'd just like to point out every single skin today, every single skin is abnormal. Yippee! I'd also like to point out, there we have it. All the skins are in the positive in terms of upvote to downvote ratio. On the top, Deep Ruby Thompson. At the bottom, Wild Hunt Bed. I'm not complaining. Now, you might sit and say, oh, I would have preferred a bit more clothing skins. Okay, I'm not going to disagree. But I was expecting another pair of tactical gloves. I was expecting another bed. I was expecting another handmade NMG. But where's the combat knives? Huh. Okay, that's a bit odd. But perhaps next week we should start expecting them. At the moment, I still don't know what the brand new Skinnable is. We were supposed to have a brand new Skinnable of January, but apparently that's not been announced yet. So I guess we'll find out next week or this weekend. I actually have like zero clue. I'm not joking here. So, all right, we'll keep an eye out on things, and of course, keep an eye out for things over the course of this upcoming weekend. More combat knife skins will be made, and perhaps we'll find out very soon what the brand new Skinnable will be. Right? I'm still sitting here hoping for wolf headdress. Anyway, so okay, no complaints. A perfectly okay batch of skins. Let me be very straightforward with you. I don't think anything here kind of screams at me saying, oh, this is an insane like skin. That's going to be a great investment and whatnot. Because like I said, inevitably, we will have another dip again. But then after that, another rise in value. But then after that, another dip again. So we've said this many times in the past, but I'll say it again. At the very beginning of the year, we have post-Christmas. Prices are high. Lots of people playing the game. Lots of demand. Prices go up in value. Not too hard to comprehend. But what we do expect after that is a drop in player count because, of course, kids have to focus school and people have to go back to focusing work. So the player count will drop, and, of course, the prices will also drop as well. That is the Easter dip. But then after that, as we get through the summer, kids are out of school, they have more time to play Rust, and that, of course, means more demand for skins, higher prices all over again. So inevitably, prices will peak back up again, up to a nice point, at some point around the summer of 2026. Last year, it peaked at around August time. Let's see if that happens all over again. But inevitably, the autumn-fall seasonal dip happens all over again. But then after that, Christmas momentum, and then after that, post-Christmas all over again. So, okay. I'm not going to complain in regards to what we see here, but I definitely will sit here and say I'm probably just going to stick with a barter. Kind of wouldn't be surprised if all of these potentially drop off at a certain point within the next couple months. That is to be expected. However, if the momentum does stay strong all the way up into and, beyond February time, okay, that'd be cool. But at some point, it does have to drop off, right? So, all right, we'll see how that goes. So, what I plan to do is that I want to sit here and talk about all the skins first, and then afterwards, I'll showcase all the skins. And then after that, I'll talk about some other things that need to be addressed. And yeah, so, shall we get started? Now, of course, before we start yapping about the brand new Rust Star, I always point out abnormals, super useful, and with every single skin becoming marketable before the Rust Star even rotates. I mean, yeah. Now, perhaps the most recent abnormals video might not be that helpful. Oh, wow, I put January 1st, 2025. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to need to fix that. I'll keep that in the video here just because I've... really? Anyway, so, yeah. Abnormals for this week are going to be super important just to get that early insight to see if these skins are actually going to have some decent demand, if they're actually going to retain their value. And of course, we saw a lot of interesting skins being submitted over the past 2 weeks. Lots of space station themed skins, weapons, lots and lots of doors, even a pair of tactical gloves. But only 2 doors were accepted today. So I kind of get the feeling we might be seeing more space station themed skins being accepted. And of course, the combat knives. About 25 of them were actually submitted in total. I actually talked about and discussed like 15 of them in this video. So there's the Rust Workshop skin checks. Everything's chaptered. You get the idea. Right, so let's hop back over to here. Quick refresh, and there we are. Fully up to date. Now you might sit there and say, Hedge, how come you waited until now to start yapping about all the skins? Well, it was a bit late. It's usually nicer to just kind of get a bit of an early insight, like as you can see here, of just a few thousand sales. We could clearly see what potentially is going to be selling like quite a lot by the end of the week, and then of course what probably won't be. But also, I've already recorded all the footage right now. So if I say anything a bit odd later on in this very video, that's because I recorded the footage in-game before I started yapping about all the skins here. Again, I wanted to leave it for a good couple hours, then I wanted to talk about it. So let's go through all the skins right now and consider, well, could these be nice investments? Space Station Garage Door. Well, the very first Rust Door for 2026, and we have a garage door in it. Yippee! So anyway, let's just quickly establish that last year we had a record-breaking amount of garage doors. But also, that's in the positive, that's in the positive, that's in the positive, that's in the positive. Post-Christmas is a wonderful time. You start seeing skins actually rise back up on a positive again. Now, throughout this year, with all these garage doors being introduced, for the majority of the time, every single one of them have been down in price, haven't they? You've been there, we saw it all happen, but now that it's like a wonderful time, For a lot of people playing Rust and demand for skins are increasing ever so, yeah, we're starting to see certain skins actually doing quite all right at the moment. However, inevitably, if it happens all over again, inevitably, we should expect that every single garage door will go down in price in 2026. Like, at one point, all of them will be in the negative. Now, there's no guarantee that's definitely going to happen, but based on what we saw here, and the year before that, and the year before that, we just kept seeing tons of garage doors being accepted. Yeah, I kind of wouldn't be surprised inevitably if that also suffers. There's also the question of, well, okay, they're space station themed skins, but is the space station building skin even that popular? With it being a high quality metal building skin, well, how often do people actually get to the point where they have high quality metal bases? Now, it does depend what type of service they're playing on, true, but do you get the idea what I'm saying? Do you get the point what I'm trying to get across? If people don't actively use the skin itself, the building skin, where's the justification to own this skin, if that makes sense? And that would also apply to this skin as well. So, that might be a bit of a concern. But regardless, it's a perfectly fine glow-in-the-dark garage door design. It does not have transparency. It only glows, okay? So it does not have transparency. The window that you see here is not transparent. Just wants to get that across immediately, all right? But priced at $2.49 with a very pessimistic outview. And I'm thinking I'd probably just approach that with a buy order. Again, super helpful that every single skin this week is abnormal. We can say that for pretty much everything. Now, I should also quickly point this out. Typically, with the first Rust store of the year, and of course with tons of people playing, you'd expect a lot of sales to happen. Now, like 2 years ago, that definitely happened. Like, the sales we saw for the first Rust store was pretty ridiculous. And unfortunately, those skins, they did not retain their value for a very long time. I don't think we're seeing it right now this Rust store. Again, the late Rust store probably helped it out. But we'll see. Again, if they sell far too much, then it could lead to some problems. Also, I've noticed that these have like collections here. Seems Rust Helper's a little bit broken there. It's just introduced some new features and things. But don't worry about that. I'm sure that'll get fixed eventually. Anyway, so Space Station Garage Door. I want to play it safe with you, and I most likely will just stick with my buy orders. So, will I probably only go about halfway? Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. But let's see how much you sell by the end of the week, and then we'll question like things from there. So, next Wednesday night, we'll approach you. Space Base Armored Door. So, essentially, right, we waited a long time to finally see some armored doors being introduced to Rust in 2025. Not until like the very end of the year, around December time. All of a sudden, now we're starting to see a lot of them. Okay, well, fair enough. Anyway, space-based armored door. Everything we just said in regards to specifically whether the high-quality metal building skin is actually in demand would apply to you as well. But it's also a perfectly fine, nice glow-in-the-dark armored door design that I think a lot of people would appreciate regardless. Nice white approach, no complaints. But obviously, it's supposed to be intended for the building skin. So, we'll see. But also in 2026, if we suddenly start seeing a lot more armored door skins being accepted, well, that could potentially lead to some issues. If it's going to be fairly sparse, hardly any acceptances, alright, maybe we could see some nice improvements. But let me remind you, 2024, 2023, we did see quite a lot of these skins. And for a very long time, they were not in the positive. But when you look at them now, that's doing alright, that's doing alright, that's doing alright. Only that. So it is a bit concerning. Sorry for yawning. I talked too long without breathing. So yeah, armored doors, just because we haven't seen that many of them in a very long time, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work out instantly, okay? So I am still somewhat concerned with its $2.49 price. And again, with it being abnormal, let's get those abnormal barders done first, then you can start questioning things. So alright, cool. Hellcore AK47. Last year, I remember there's an AK that sold for $3.49 at the very beginning of 2025. What was it called? This is all a jumbled order, isn't it? So that means I've got to switch back over to SMM. Let's go see where you are. What's the AK? There you go. Now, what was the AK-47 that was accepted early last year? I'm thinking of... Oh, no, was it 2024? Oh no, it's probably 2024, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking of El Diablo. Anyway, that only sold so much, but it sold for $3.49. And for a very long time, this did suffer. It went down real bad. But as of recent, it's actually started to climb up. I think that's a manipulation, though. So we'll see how things turn out. But with that price, it's a perfectly fine looking AK, as I've already seen it. I just don't think it's going to justify holding that value. Now, maybe it doesn't sell that much. We'll see. And in the past, I have noticed quite a lot of black AK-47s working out quite all right. In fact, the AK-47 that sold the absolute most in terms of highest subscriber counts, there you go, Ninja AK-47, that did like 45,000 subscribers. Nope, 44.4. But anyway, that was a very nice black design with a nice bit of white as well. That still worked out in the end. Did take some time to get to this point, but still worked out in the end. People do appreciate a nice looking black AK-47, it seems. Black Diamond, Black Stone, Black Ops, Ninja, Commando, not factory new, you're metallic. So anyway, maybe a lack of sales could help you out. We'll see. It's just, we're starting to see more and more and more black AK-47s, so it might be a bit of a concern in the end. We'll see how it goes. But it doesn't necessarily mean we won't see another interesting looking AK-47 next week. You know how it is. There's always another interesting looking AK. So next week and the week after that and the week after that and the week after that. Perhaps with all these brand new Skinnables, we'll start to see less garage doors, less AK-47s. One could hope, I guess you could say. I'm all for more diverse rust doors with different skins and different items getting skins. I'm totally fine with that. Super interested in that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure inevitably there'll also be an interesting looking DLC AK-47 that will be released this year. So you never know. Keep an eye out. We'll see how it goes, okay? At $3.49, it's a fairly high price, and I'm not feeling that confident it'll be able to retain that price, especially with the inevitable Easter dip. So, buy orders? Yep. Deep Ruby Thompson. Let's just take one quick look at all the Thompsons that came out the previous year. So as you'll notice, you got one, you got two, you got three. Three of them in a positive. No, four. And, well, for a while, that wasn't really the case. These have only started to perk up properly. For a while, they were down pretty bad, as did the Abyss Thompson. And if you look at like the previous years, you notice not every single Thompson's up in price perfectly. There's quite a decent amount of them that are also in the negative, which is, yeah, quite the concern. But also, how much are you going to even sell? If this only does like 15,000 subscribers, it'll probably do quite all right. Now, let me also point out, Deep Ruby Collection isn't exactly super in demand, but it's not exactly crashing and burning. I've definitely heard a lot of people sit there and say they don't happen to like this collection, and yet it perseveres, it still keeps getting skins accepted. I mean, it's admirable. But also, could this still actually turn into a profit? Well, look at the weapon skins, for example. Deep Ruby Sep, very nicely up in the positive. Deep Ruby Rock, very nicely up in the positive. Double barrel shotgun, slightly down, but most double barrel shotguns are like that. Deep Ruby Crossbow, only slightly down. Hedge is doing very good for itself. AK-47 is actually back up in the positive. So it looks like people are actually starting to appreciate the Deep Ruby like design. It's unique, it stands out. Well then, maybe that Thompson will be doing like pretty okay. Keep an eye on that. That's actually looking pretty interesting. But just to quickly remind you once again, with the average sales we saw last year. So if I just quickly go through all of these, so I can see that did about 9,000, just under 11,000, almost 20,000. Yeah, I guess you could say about 15,000 subscribers. Quite a decent amount of them were above 20,000 last year. Wow. Okay, 15,000 seems to be the sweet spot. So if it lands around there and less, okay, that probably will be working out quite all right, okay? But again, all those Deep Ruby weapon skins are in the positive when times are good. With that Thompson, you might have to wait a while for that to happen again, okay? So we'll see how it goes. Thundergold MP5. Alright, well, let's just take one quick look at Thundergold collection. Oh, okay, there you go. Pretty much everything you see here is in the positive, including a decent portion of these weapons. Now again, most double barrel shotgun skins are down in price. That's not a surprise. The handmade LMG is down by 10%. The custom SMG is down by 15%. But then again, Most of the handmade LMGs are down in price. Like the vast majority of custom SMGs are down in price. But not as bad as that. And with the AK47 sitting here at a comfortable, well, almost $10. And with the SAR sitting here at almost $10 as well. Oh, okay. That's looking pretty sweet. Most AK47s that come out, they go down in price pretty quickly. Most SAR skins that come out, well, as of recent, pretty much all of them have gone down in price pretty badly. But those aren't. Okay, well, that's looking pretty interesting. Now, let me also remind you, before the MP5s, if you were to take a look at the most expensive ones, you might notice a certain comics AK47, it's a bit off. But, you know, compared to all the other skins that have been accepted somewhat recently, that's actually doing very good for itself. Sold at $2.49, it sits here at $5.40. And if I could just look at it on the Steam market just to confirm, let's click U, and let's also turn this extension on just so we can see everything perfectly fine. Yep, it's sitting here at $5.65. It's improved. All skins are rising up in price. Post-Christmas is fully in effect. So, alright, cool, understood. In the past years, you've been slowly going up in price, haven't you? Yep. So it took a while, but yep, it's been trending upwards for quite some time. And now, with a brand new thing to compare to it. Now, of course, I should also mention we've had in the past the Arctic Skull MP5. That's gone back up into the positive. Not a fully white design, but mostly white. And then after that, there isn't really anything else. Other than H-June and Sukuno's Twitch drops. Recoy as well. Alright, should mention that. So, if you missed out on those Twitch drops, you're not getting them ever again. But what you can always get is the Thundergold MP5. So perhaps at $2.49, maybe that might be quite appealing. And of course, with all the other Thundergold skins doing quite alright at the moment, more specifically the clothing and the armour, but those weapons are also doing pretty good. Perhaps that might be one of the MP5s that actually ends up in the positive eventually. Because if you were to take a look at all the MP5s that came out over the past year, oh dear, you got one in a good, like one doing good, one doing good, the rest of them not really doing very nicely, no. But then again, we also got those 2 Twitch drops somewhat recently as well. So, perhaps the Thundergold MP5 might not sell that much. But then, well, if it does happen to increase in interest over time, all the better for it to rise up in price in the future. Alright, well, fair enough. Got to keep an eye on it, though, alright? We've got to keep an eye on it. So, alright, we'll keep track of that. It is looking interesting. Like, if I was to sit here and say what's looking to be the most appealing skins this week, Thundergold MP5 would be one of them, alright? But with its collection, well, it has had some dips when times are bad. Again, when times are good. And, of course, we only ever really want to sell when times are good, to be honest. Or they rise up in price ever so nice, so... Alright, we'll leave it at that. Tempered handmade LMG. This does not have a transparent aim sight. Recently, we have seen 2 notable Christmas designs with a transparent aim sight. Christmas Candy handmade LMG and the Elven made handmade LMG, alright? Both of these had like next to no like sales. Elven made just under 7,000 subscribers. Christmas Candy just under 5,000 subscribers. Wow. But with a transparent aim sight, this has lost a third of its value. Blackout handmade LMG has just started to go back up into the positive, but wow. Now, I also point out No Mercy's down in price, Protector's down in price, we got all the Twitch drops for absolutely free. I am expecting a lot more handmade LMGs to be accepted over the course of this year, and of course, Twitch drops, kick drops, I feel like that's an inevitability. But Tempered, a fairly well-known and beloved collection, but look at it right now. Right now is probably one of the best times to sell your skins. Do all of these skins look like they're doing super great at the moment? Not really, no. So whilst it's a fairly well-known collection that a lot of people do happen to appreciate, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a profitable one. So with this priced at $2.49, I'm probably not going to be going very strong with that. Barter? Oh yeah, 100%. I will be doing a barter. But will that be profitable? I'm having doubts, I'm sorry to say. So, alright, we'll leave it at that. Phantom Tactical Gloves. A very well-established collection, as you can see. This originally started back in 2017, and as time has gone on, here and there we see a decent amount of skins being accepted, and now, even like 8 years later, still seeing skins being accepted. Very nice to see. Now, tactical gloves. With you arriving today, did the hoodie and pants spike in price? Well, they're already valuable, but it does seem to have a bit of an extra little spike there. So, okay, it's not looking too bad. It is looking somewhat interesting. But as I said, they're already up in price. They're already valuable. That right there is about $8 at the moment. So, tactical gloves. What could come out after you to give you a nice boost? I mean, maybe a jacket, but I don't know. I don't know. Whilst it does still get skins accepted every now and then, I'm not sure if there's anything else that could really give it a boost. And I don't think Shedmon, the skin creator, is like itching to make a jacket skin anytime soon. Although then again, he probably is watching this video right now and thinking, wow, why didn't I do that sooner? And maybe we do get the jacket skin made and accepted, and then that probably would spike in price a bit. But I am expecting a lot more tactical glove skins to be made and also accepted. Now, I was kind of hoping for either blackout or whiteout tactical gloves today. Nope, Phantom. All right, well, Phantom still looks nice, and of course, later on in this video, you will see that for yourself. It does look very pretty. But, how many tactical gloves are we expecting in 2026? I don't know. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we see Twitch drops, kick drops. Again, there's a lot of notable collections out there. I mean, we got Valentine's coming up. Wouldn't surprise me if we see some Lovestruck Phantom tactical... Lovestruck tactical gloves. Sorry, I read Phantom again. But yeah, big bright gloves. Yes, big bright pink gloves, I should say. Maybe add a bandana to that. I actually might ask Bad Trip about that. That would be pretty funny. Anyway, there will be more tactical gloves. I can't help to assume they'll be happening a lot this year. And with lots of notable collections clamouring for more clothing and armour pieces, I mean, yeah, that's to be expected. So that very likely might get lost in a shuffle. How many sales will it get though? Not sure. Is this week going to be a quiet week, or is it going to be a busy week? After just a few hours of sales, I can't tell you that. I don't know the answer. I can't see that pretty easily at the moment. And again, with it being a late rush store today, that didn't really help. So we'll see what becomes of this. It looks nice. I'm just not sure if it's profitable nice. So, alright, fair enough. Night Demon, Bandana and Poncho. Alright. Props to skin creators. They just keep getting skins accepted over and over and over and over and over again. And it's looking pretty good at the moment. But this is primitive. What we need to see next for this is, well, burlap, hide clothing, hide boots. You get the idea. We need to see more of that. Will that happen? I mean, well, I should probably point out the success rate of Night Demon's been pretty good. What makes you say that? Every single skin got accepted. Oh, okay then. I mean, if we do see burlap clothing or hide clothing after this, oh, you know for a fact that will spike in price ever so nicely. If. Like, at the same time, Little Ranger, he's got his beloved cock collection. And, well, that just keeps getting skins accepted. This man has to juggle a lot. Should I also point out, oh, look, Abyss collection's here as well. Oh, that was a bit of a surprise, quite literally. The Thompson and the Tools today, they were extra late picks. All three of these waited 10 months to be accepted, so, all right. Are we going to see more Abyss skins being made? Are we going to see more cock skins being made? Are we going to see more Night Demon skins being made? I have no idea. But we have quite a lot to look forward to, I guess you could say. So, I'll reiterate this one more time. If we see any more pieces, of course, the bandana and the poncho will spike in price ever so nice. But let's also keep an eye on the sales, right? I remember Curse Collection. Let's just remind myself, Curse Collection. Initially, that came out like a poncho. Let's just quickly rewire my brain. That's it. Bandana and poncho. 33,000 subscribers. 23,000 subscribers. For a very long time, these two pieces were kind of struggling, whereas the rest of it set, oh, it was doing lovely, right? But now, 2 years later, now it's doing good. So, okay. We'll see how things progress. And, yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on, like, you know, what else pops up. But again, with so many skins being accepted for them, I guess they're going to have to just kind of juggle and figure out what they want to do next. chances are they might just make a brand new set. We'll see. But yeah, I'm optimistic with that. Tools, Abyss tools, $2.49 each. Ooh. Well, I'm not expecting incredibly high sales of them, but that could probably help out. Now, I do know for a fact they do not glow in the dark, all right? But if you were to take a look at all the hatchet skins and the pickaxe skins of recent past, they are not looking very pretty. That one's being manipulated. They are not looking very pretty. No, 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 no. And then over to here, if I could just quickly hop back and take a look at all the pickaxes, you'll see pretty much the exact same thing. Ugh. What's wrong here? I don't know. People just don't seem to appreciate the, tool skins. If you have a solid idea or answer for that, feel free to comment below. But yeah, I am surprised by that. Like, by default, I don't really want to offer that much. But also, Abyss collection. It is pretty in demand. Now, take a look at all the weapons. You've got an AK there that's actually in the positive. Some of these weapon skins, they are down. But they're not down like ridiculously. That's down by 5%. That's down by 9%. The Abyss, yeah, the Abyss MP5, that's actually in the positive. Abyss 096 came out somewhat recently. Still kind of like fresh. So there's a reason why it's down so bad. But the bow skin, look at that. It's up comfortably. So I could see some nice positivity of it. But I still believe it's going to drop off. Maybe as time goes on, it will be appreciated. We shall see. But, I mean, we'll see how it goes, all right? We'll see how it goes. I'm looking at it with optimism, but I'm also being realistic and I'm also expecting it to drop off. So, all right, we'll leave it at that. And then we have the Wild Hunt bed. Collection continuation to the recent wooden door skin. Honestly, having seen this in game already, it does look very special. That looks nice. The perfect amount of creepy, scary, and where's my bearskin rug? I'd love to see the bearskin rug. So just to quickly confirm, we've only had 2 skins accepted so far, but we also have the garage door and the small box on the workshop. If we do see more and more, I'm totally down for it. But then we also have the question of, how many bed skins are we exactly going to see in 2026? Bed first became skinnable back in October. And then after that, 21 skins accepted in 2025. What? Well, clearly Face Punch absolutely adores this brand new item. But I'm a little bit worried. Whilst this looks very cool and it glows in the dark very, very nicely. What happens if we see like another 20 bed skins being accepted within the next like half a year? Well, I'd probably sit there and say that's a bit of a problem. Would you agree? Yeah, I'm having some concerns. Like last year with so many garage doors being accepted, you know, for example, there was a point where every single skin that came out in 2025 was in the negative. And with all the acceptances, it's not too much of a surprise. So far too many options leads to people not really sure what they want. And then, yeah, all the skins end up suffering. So if you, at the moment, you do look cool and you do look very nice, and by all means, if you like what you see, you want to buy it, well, go ahead. Support that skin creator. Keep them nice and motivated. Keep wanting to put out nice creative designs in the future, all right? But with this, I would like to see more. But also, hey, that looks awesome. Feel free to comment below your opinion based on that and all the other skins. But now, how about actually hop in game now and showcase to you what all these skins look like? Good day, Ruskin enjoyers. It is time for our first showcase of all of 2026. And we got a very cool looking bed skin to showcase to you. It is scary. It is creepy. It is weird. It is the Wild Hunt bed. Now, it's essentially a collection now, considering it is a sequel to the wooden door we saw being accepted not too long ago. But what would you like to see being made next? Feel free to comment below, because when I first saw that wooden door, I thought to myself, you know what? I reckon a bearskin rug version of that would look really, really cool. Now, we'll see if that potentially happens in the future, but I can confirm somewhat recently, well, as early as this past weekend, we did see the small box being produced. So, could we see some more skins in the near future? We shall see. But of course, for other skins that might potentially be made, keep an eye on the workshop. Now, of course, at night time, with the lights on, not that reflective, but in terms of total darkness, yeah, that looks creepy. Dare I say, scarier than the Halloween beds we saw being accepted not too long ago. I think you might agree. But I honestly think there's a lot of potential with this set, especially the possibility of like many more skins being made next. Oh, cool. Thank you, Monument. That's the first instance of the Monument. Oh, and there you go. Second time. That's the first instance of that interrupting me as I'm talking about the skins. What a great start. Anyway, with what we see right here, the potential to see a lot of interesting deplorables to follow suit, and honestly, a deer skull mask and a poncho and a primitive set, I think the skin creator's got a lot that he could potentially work on. But you, the viewer right now, feel free to comment below, what would you personally like to prioritise? Maybe a wooden double door. Maybe a chair skin. Or like I said, maybe like a deer skull mask. Maybe a bearskin rug. Offer your opinion, and we'll keep an eye on the workshop, right? So, cool. Spectacular piece of work. But oh no, it's the very beginning of 2026, and immediately we see a bed skin being accepted. Uh-oh. How many bed skins are going to be accepted in all of 2026? I'm dreading that it might be a little bit too much. And of course, if that does happen, if we keep seeing bed skin after bed skin after bed skin being accepted throughout this year, all of them very likely will go down in price, with only like barely a few actually managing to stay in the positive. So we'll see how that goes, right? But props to the skin creator once again. Now over to here. What do we have? Oh yes, an armored door and a garage door, perfectly lined up with the space station building skin. So in the past, what, 2 weeks? Just before Christmas, and of course just after Christmas, I have been seeing tons upon tons of space station building skin affiliated deplorable skins being made. I've even seen quite a lot of like weapon skins in reference to the LR300 DLC. But lo and behold, the armored door here is the one that's accepted. And oh, that just so happens to have some transparency. I'm sure a lot of people will probably take a liking to that. So, alright, that's cool. And then over to here, garage door. This doesn't have transparency. That window is completely solid. You cannot see through it. But yep, both nice, welcome additions. But of course, is that actually going to hold up its value? Is this actually going to hold up its value? I just talked a minute ago about the possibility of the beds being too abundant this year, and that could lead to some issues. With far too many acceptances, perhaps it might be a struggle for a bed to actually maintain its price. Well, here I am looking at the garage door. What happened in 2025? 39 skins were accepted in total. However, as of now, with it being post-Christmas, we have noticed some garage doors actually rising up in price quite nicely. But the majority, oh yeah, they are down bad, unfortunately. So, we'll see how it goes. Will people always appreciate this and pair it up with the space station building skin? Will the space station building skin be popular? Will people actually want to use it all the time? It is high quality metal after all, and that might be a bit of a concern because not everybody manages to get to, actually get to using high quality metal. Again, depends on what type of servers they might play on. We'll see. I mean, you can offer your opinion. Feel free to comment below. But yeah, brace yourselves. Don't be surprised if potentially every single skin you see here in today's Rust store, especially considering with so many people playing, that all of their prices might drop off because perhaps they might sell a bit too much. We'll see. Now, this armored door, as I said, transparent hatch right there, and of course it glows in the dark. Well, what do you mean it glows in the dark? Oh, there you go. I didn't make it nighttime yet, so both of these doors do happen to glow quite nicely. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that, but I am concerned. Do enough people actually get the opportunity to skin an armoured door and use an armoured door? And will we see a ridiculous amount of garage doors being accepted this year? I mean, we shall see, alright? So, can I just quickly take control of this foolish person right here? That is me, yes. I just want to quickly showcase to you that, yes, that is actually the hatch that is down. And then, I hate this part, there you go. And then, how's this look when it's rolled up? Does it still glow in the dark? Yes, it does. Look at that. No lights below. That does light up quite nicely. So, okay. Not too bad. But what's your opinion? Feel free to comment below. Okay, time for weapons and tools. Let's get a good look at the Abyss tools. Not too bad. Looking perfectly fine. Now, does it happen to glow in the dark? No, it doesn't glow. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. Do you notice the eyes there? Okay, that might be a bit of a concern. However, let me just look in third person. Oh, where am I? So let's just move over to here. There you go. Now, if I can see the eyes in third person, that means it glows. But based on what I'm seeing here, nope, I can't see that. So it's just very good night light. All right, no complaints here then. Looks perfectly fine to me. So what do you reckon? Are you a fan? The Abyss collection's doing quite nicely at the moment. Yeah, I'm sure you'd agree. But, well, what do you reckon? Tools in general, they don't tend to hold out their value very nicely, do they? No, that's typically a thing we see. But maybe the Abyss collection might be a little bit different. Some of the weapon skins it's had in the past have actually worked out quite alright. We'll see, we'll see. So, alright then. I can see the eyeballs again there. Let's go over to here. Are you reflective? Not really. It's metallic. It's not that reflective, so alright. Not complaining. Let's look at this in third person because well, we just kind of looked at the hatchet quite a lot, didn't we? So yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So opinions, please. Are you a fan of it? Feel free to comment below. Okay, time to showcase the Thundergold MP5. Get a good look at that. So, standard sight. Not sure if that's going to be too much of a concern, but in general, MP5s don't really tend to hold up their value, do they? No. In most instances, you would expect the prices to drop off. Although, with Thundergold weapons, we have seen them hold up quite nicely in the past. And, well, if you look at them right now, okay. The AK's doing very nicely, the SAR's doing very nicely. Okay, maybe this might work out quite alright. But also, the second I saw this, I just had to instantly go ahead and bring in the Comics MP5. Because right now, this is selling for about $5.50. Now, of course, this is like pure white. But over to here, this is white and gold. Pearlescent white and a lovely gold trim. That's what I'd normally say. But both of them also happen to have the same standard sight. So what do you reckon? If this is now pushing up to over $5.50, could we see this work out very nicely whilst it's half the price? But also do take into consideration the amount of sales it could potentially have. The Rough Store did rotate fairly late today, so maybe the first few hours isn't going to really give you a good enough indication to see if these skins are going to sell like insanely. But hey, we'll see. Again, like, MP5s tend to be a fairly common acceptance, so there will be quite a lot of MP5s being accepted this year, pending if all these brand new Skinnables do actually manage to get in the way or whatnot, we'll see. But yeah, not too bad for what it is. Also, how's it look at night time? So is the night light good to wear? Oh yeah, I can see that. That's not too bad. But then of course, in comparison to the Comics MP5, that's a lot more noticeable. Also, it's double the price. At the end of the day, just put a hollow sight on it. So, not too bad. Not too shabby. What do you reckon then? Well, let's go over to here. Lights off. Yep, that is reflective. That is shiny. Look at the gold. Look at the shine. Strike a pose. So, at the end of the day, if it sells like a very reasonable amount, based on what I've seen with other Thundergold weapon skins, I can't help but assume that actually might work out quite right in the future. Could it still potentially dip? Oh, of course. You know, after post-Christmas, we do have the Easter dip, so a lot of skins are kind of expected to drop off around March and April. But for this year in particular, with the naval update coming out on February, maybe post-Christmas momentum might last a little bit longer. We shall see. But it looks nice. Props to skin creators. But now, I'll ask you, the viewer, what would you like to see being made next? Feel free to comment below. Next up, we've got the Deep Ruby Thompson. Looking nice and shiny there. So, Deep Ruby collection. It just keeps on getting skins accepted. Like, when I initially first saw it come out, quite a lot of people were kind of against it. And yet it perseveres. So, that looks perfectly fine for what it is. It's a Thompson. It's very shiny and purple. And I can remember last year, early 2025, I first saw the Deep Ruby AK47. I thought, you know what, that looks pretty interesting. So I was somewhat confident with it. I did a decent buy order, and the price did initially drop off. But as time went on, it did slowly start to get appreciated, and it did slowly start to go up higher and higher in price. So what do you think about this, Thompson? Offer your opinions, feel free to comment below. Also, night time look, let's just get a good look at you, and I can see the aim sight. It's not super clear, but I can see it. Just put a sight on it. Right then, so not too bad. Hey, maybe it'll work out. Keep an eye on the sales. We'll see how it progresses. And yeah, keep an eye out. We'll probably still see more and more Deep Ruby collections. So, alright, cool. Night time. Over to here. Are you shiny? Common now. Is it shiny? Look at it. So, looking perfectly fine. So, Thompson's did used to be like fairly reliable investments. As of recent, though, it's not like going to be instantly okay. But again, backer sales definitely could work out quite alright. We'll see. A perfectly unique, interesting, shiny, reflective design with a very useful red aim sight. Keep an eye on it. We shall see. But like again, some point in the future, there will be Twitch drop, kick drops. There will be more Thompson skins being accepted in Rust stores. Well, we'll have to just keep an eye on it, right? And so, let's now go over to here. Lights back on. And showcase this $3.49 AK-47. Now, with all due respect, it does look cool. Is it $3.49 cool? What do you mean, Hedge? Well, a higher-priced AK really does need to stand out very nicely. Now, with all due respect, it's a pretty cool-looking black and white design. And I do recall, do you remember when we had the Ninja AK-47 in the Rust store? That did like 45,000 subscribers, but it was a black and white design, or rather mostly black with a little bit of white. This one does have a little bit more white to it, but I'm not sure if it's like going to actually retain its price. How many AK-47s do we currently have in the game? Far too much? Alright, we'll go with that. But there will always be another AK-47. And then the next week there'll be another one. And next week, you know, we've said this many times, you get the idea. Just because this looks very nice and cool at the moment doesn't mean there won't be another one that comes out at some point in the future. Like, don't you think we'll probably see some interesting DLC AK-47s this year? That feels like it's expected, so yeah, maybe just better off with a buy order. But at the end of the day, if you like what you see here, oh, no ammo. If you like what you see here, by all means, buy one. Support the skin creator, keep them nice and motivated, because you never know, we might see more of this collection. Well, to kind of give, you know, Face Punch the indication that you like it, you might have to go, you know, buy a couple if you want. But yeah, a high price, perhaps it'll lead to it's not selling that much, which could definitely help it out in the future. But wow, I can't see that at all at night time. The white aim sight is not visible, so okay, that's a bit of concern. So alright then, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I remember last year we saw a pretty cool looking God, what collection was it? Do you remember the $3.49 skin that had like the demon design? What am I thinking of? Anyway, that went down in price, didn't it? Yep. But I'm pretty sure it rose up quite recently as well. Anyway, keep an eye on this. It wouldn't surprise me if it drops off pretty badly around the Easter time. Of course, with many more AKs expected, should be that much of a surprise. And a little bit reflective, not too insane. So alright, cool. Strike a pose. Look pretty. Yeah. So, what do you reckon? Will it actually retain that price? Or will we see another AK-47 next week that everyone's going to go crazy for? Like, I should point out, there was that Space Station AK-47 that was submitted. The cut sight, it was all white. I mean, we'll see what becomes of that. You never know, it could be next week. We shall see. And of course, more drops in the future eventually. We shall see. Right, let's now go ahead and showcase the tempered handmade NMG. So tempered collection, it just keeps on progressing. Ever since what, 2017? It's an old collection. But uh-oh, what do we see here? That's a standard sight in a handmade NMG. Huh. Is this actually going to retain its value? By default, I would sit here and say I have doubts. Especially considering we just got 2 Christmas handmade NMGs. which had a transparent aim sight. I've heard nothing but complaints in regards to the vision that this blocks with its aim sight. And then I heard a lot of people very happy to see the transparent designs with the recent handmade MG skins. So, what do you reckon? Well, first of all, let's give that a nice reload. No hidden message. Oh, come on, Milho. Anyway, it looks fine. I have no issue with it. And I know for a fact a lot of people are very happy to see more tempered skins getting acceptances. But I know for a fact a lot of people are going to be very happy with this standard sight. So I wouldn't be surprised if it drops off. Also, consider the fact that we do expect more handmade NMGs to be produced and accepted. Yeah. These brand new Skinnables, they just keep getting more and more acceptances. And of course, inevitably more Twitch drops, kick drops. You get the idea, so, alright, fair enough. Not time, look. Aim down. No, not visible. I can't see that. So, yeah, I don't think that'll be holding up its price. But at the end of the day, if you're a true fan of the tempered collection, perhaps you might want to go ahead and show some support to the skin creator. Keep them nice and motivated. Keep wanting to put a nice creative designs in the future. Like, I'm fully expecting tempered tactical gloves at some point. That feels like an inevitability. Okay, night time, please. Right, how shiny are you? You're super tempered shiny. Yes. Lovely stuff. Right then, strike a pose and try and look pretty. I do try my best. It looks fine. I have no complaints. It's just, I can't help but assume it'll drop off. Smart barred all the way? Yes, indeed. How low will it go? Again, dependent on how much it sells. So if it only does like around 10,000 subscribers, well, yeah, okay, it might do a better job. But if it ends up doing like 20,000 subscribers, okay, I would be a little bit more concerned. So keep an eye out. And perhaps it could potentially become a nice profit. We shall see. Right then, let's get a good look at the clothing and the armour. So, Night Demon Collection. You just keep getting more and more skins accepted. A very successful collection, I guess you could say. We've got all the core pieces, the tier 3, the hoodie and pants, the boots and gloves, the tier 2. And now, we start questioning, could we potentially see a brand new primitive set? What do you reckon? What would you, the viewer, like to see being made next? Burlap clothing or hide clothing? Would you potentially like some leather gloves, hide boots, burlap shoes? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Also, what about headwear? Would you like a boonie hat? What about like a head wrap, you know? Dress them up like a very scary looking night demon. Oh, you know what? Deer skull mask. I know I've mentioned that already, but come on, it would work for night demon with the horns and whatnot. Again, your opinions, please. Feel free to comment below. But now we question if it were to get more primitive skins accepted. What do you reckon would happen to the bandana and the poncho? Of course it would spike them on, spike in price. So we'll keep an eye on this. And we'll keep an eye on the sales as well. In the past, with the first ever Rust Store for the year, we have seen quite ridiculous sales. If this sells a little bit too much, uh-oh. Regardless, if we even still see like collection continuations, if this still sells far too much, there could still be potential issues. So, you know, keep an eye, but then again, if you like what you see and you want to buy a pair for yourself right now, by all means, buy it, enjoy it. Support the skin creator, keep them nice and motivated, keep on putting nice creative designs in the future. Right then, so props to them. And now, let us take a look at the Phantom Tactical Gloves. So you might not remember, but the first ever pair of road sign gloves to be accepted back in 2021, that's the Phantom collection. It just keeps on sticking around. Ever since 2017, we just keep seeing random skins being accepted every now and then. Well, props to Shedmon. It just keeps getting more and more. I remember, what was it, like early last year? We got the backpack, I was making a big fuss about that. Well now, tactical gloves. And who knows what could potentially be skinnable next. We still don't know actually. But if it keeps on getting more and more skins accepted, who knows what clothing pieces could potentially become skinnable next. What do you reckon then? I don't know, Phantom Wolf headdress, that might be pretty sweet, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So for what they are, it's fine. But with the collection, like originally coming out many years ago, These might sell a little bit too much, which could lead to issues. So perhaps keep an eye out for it, but I'll be honest with you. Wilders first, yeah, that might be the smart play. But don't be surprised if it sells just a little bit too much compared to the core pieces and potentially suffers in the future. Especially with the potential that we're now going to keep seeing more and more tactical gloves being produced and, of course, accepted in future rust stores. There's a lot of collections out there, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the skin creators want to try and get a nice sale, you know, nice batch of gloves to add to their sets. So, yeah, more sales, more profit. I'm sure they'll be happy. So, yeah, considering that we saw a lot of bed skins being introduced, quite a lot of handmade LMG skins being introduced, we also anticipate a lot more tactical gloves to follow, right? So you've been warned, and also, let's just get a little good look there. I lost my tongue there. Let's just get a good look at these skins at night time with the lights on. Yeah, looking nice and shiny. However, do you want your skins to be nice and shiny at night time? Probably not. But it does look nice. So yeah, Night Demon Poncho standing out very, very nicely. Nice bit of reflection there. And the bandana, not too bad too as well. And then, of course, some people might be questioning, Hedge, does it glow in the dark or anything? All right, we'll find out then. No. I mean, I could just move around as well just to be sure. And I can confirm, no, this does not appear to glow in the dark. So, opinions, please. Feel free to comment below. Okay, so you should be back then after looking at all the brand new skins. Feel free to comment below which one your favourite. But now, let's just talk about the current situation. So, for the past 2 weeks, quite a lot of interesting skins were submitted. Let's just quickly confirm. No early picks this week, which is, well, something we'll have to keep track of because, of course, does that mean next week we won't see any early picks? Or maybe next week will only consist of early picks? There's definitely a lot that you could consider. Also, whilst I'm here, I should also point out who has won the bingo in my server. We'll go ahead and find out. All 6 of these people, they correctly guessed a certain amount of skins, and well, they have to consider now what could potentially be accepted next week. I'd also like to confirm it looks like Mr. Zero has won, and yep, all right then. So I had to take a screenshot of that and pass it over in my server. The reason why I add this in my video is so that they can't complain saying, "Oh, Hedge, you rigged it. Shut up, shut up, shut up." So all right, cool. I also just want to kind of keep you like fully aware. Face Punch isn't currently well, working, it seems, I guess you could say, but everything should start returning to normal as of this upcoming Monday, all right? We're expecting quite a lot more DLC. Like, they were very open about this earlier. If you go to facepunch.blog, yeah, I should have put a space there. They're talking about, like, the past 12 years of Rust and whatnot. Like, basically, they're just talking about themselves and all that. Nothing wrong with that. They've obviously done quite a lot this past year. But they're also talking about how they'd have, like, a dedicated DLC team. They're talking about how they're currently going over, like, with cheating and whatnot. So, lots of talking, but that specific part in regards to DLC. We are aware of Box's DLC, aren't we? Oh, yes. Keep an eye out for that. Be prepared for such a thing. Whilst it hasn't been mentioned for quite some time, it very likely could be coming out as early as February Force Wipe. Or maybe it gets delayed until March Force Wipe. We shall see. You want to make sure you get these sales in whilst you can. The player count today? Phenomenal. But it's never going to be like this forever, right? It's only like this for a certain period of time in certain instances of the year, right? So, okay, cool, understood. But whilst prices are doing very, very good, you need to consider starting to make some sales, right? Earlier today, or rather, about, let's see here, 13 hours ago, yeah. This account only had £1,470. As you can see, it's gained about, I don't know, $200, £150. So yeah, that's been improving. This account over to here barely had £40, and well, the sales have been happening, and yeah, no, that's improving. I'm trying to spread my wealth. I'm spread around like skins I have in certain accounts, and I'm trying to get the sales in, just trying to get all the profits up. So yes, at a certain point, eventually I'll be able to fill up all of my accounts, and well, let's just quickly show you here so far. Yeah, not too bad. Maximum wallet amount I can have is 1,700, and things have been swimming so far. Swimmingly. God, Good job, Hedge. Anyway, so things are still looking pretty sweet. Lots of people playing at the moment. It's basically been a fire sale. People have just been buying, grabbing, using, enjoying. Lots of prices improving. It doesn't last forever, and you do want to try and make sure you get those sales in whilst you can, all right? I expect these peak sales to happen for the next week or two. I still question, will it hold up as we inevitably reach the naval update? We've got 4 weeks to go. Will people still be playing like crazy? I mean, if it's like last year, we should still expect a decent amount of people to turn up. So we'll see. We'll see. But yes, let me just quickly showcase to you some progress. So here we are. Since November 18, I've been keeping track of my funds on all of my accounts. And, well, it's been progressing very, very nicely. Even with me sitting here having to buy some skins in stores because, of course, some of those skins we saw recently did look very, very nice. I had to make a move. But, yeah, great improvements. And I'll definitely be talking about post-Christmas a whole lot more in a video that'll be coming out later, as in Saturday, all right? So keep an eye out for that. I'll be talking about the phenomenal time that is post-Christmas, because even after doing all those sales and whatnot, I've also been buying a whole bunch of things. But everything's working out perfectly fine because, of course, it's not hard to sell your Ruskins right now for some sweet, delicious-looking profit. So, yeah, get those sales in whilst you can. Consider this. This is the best way to kind of explain things. You could go over and look in your inventory right now, okay? Yeah? And certain skins, you might sit there and say, oh, but I like that skin. True. But the most likely instance to be expected of what's going to happen is you very likely could sell your skin right now for a lovely bit of profit. Just wait 2 or 3 months. Just wait 2 or 3 months. Look at that skin again. Not only will you be able to afford to pay for it again, yeah, but the price, in theory, should be much cheaper, that you could buy it and still keep some of the profit you got from selling it originally. So it's totally like up to you how you might approach these things, but do not be surprised. Oh, look at that, like 1,514 there. Refresh. Oh, look at that. But the point still remains, right? You could sell your valuables now, wait a while, and inevitably it's expected they'll drop off. You can pick them up again, and you still have the funds that a portion of the funds. You get the idea. Profits are made. Cool, awesome, lovely. So, yeah, we'll see how things turn out, and we'll look forward to all the brand new content and updates in the future. Do you honestly believe Naval Update will be that interesting, or rather, there'll be enough curious people turning up that things should like maintain and the momentum will stick around until then? Thoughts, please? Feel free to comment below. But yes, consider looking at the brand new blog post if you so wish. No actual new stuff added today other than the Rust store. And of course the Force Wipe, so. Alright. Cool. So yeah. Look at all that sweet, delicious fun. Oh yes. Okay, so back over to here. So we talked about that. We talked about like abnormals. I think we pretty much covered everything. So I am trying to keep track of all the things that are currently going on. So 1 hour into January Force Wipe, I did sit here and say the peak player count was 245,000. Evidently, we only went up by an extra 2,000. So will tomorrow be better? We shall see. So we'll see what becomes of all those interesting looking space station theme skins that were submitted to the workshop these past 2 weeks. Many interesting door skins were produced. I even saw a furnace. Interesting weapon skins are out there as well. Perhaps they'll appear next week. We shall see. We never know. Maybe they'll just never be. Maybe that'll just be it. Maybe those skins will never be accepted. It kind of wouldn't be surprising, would it? Let's just give this garage door a good look. Initially, a lot of people were assuming this was a window of transparency. No, it's reflective. So just to confirm that once again. Looks nice, and I certainly hope to see like a lot more skins being accepted. But, well, you've got to keep an eye on the workshop, don't you? So, with that, it's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching the video. I know I still don't have my face in the corner. I'm still technically on break and I'm enjoying myself, right? Shut up. But I will be back soon. For the people who are watching me on the YouTube streams, that won't be happening again for a while. I'm only streaming on Twitch again, so keep an eye out. All the links are in the description. And don't forget, please, 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 please consider voting for the Ruskin of the Year for 2025. And so with that, thank you very much for watching the video. Catch you later. See you and goodbye.